WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
We'll yelp up a storm with a local national champion. And we've got information about our bucks here in Pennsylvania.
The birds are gobbling. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs, and guess what? It's that time of the year again that we start calling in our friends, the turkeys, and look at how good it works. Because who do we call in here but our buddy Ken Hunter?
Oh, wait a minute, I just called a turkey in too.
Yeah, but I'm a gobbler, and
okay.
I don't know, I was making a hen call.
Well, Jake, we have certainly heard our share of turkey calls over the years.
And some of them good, some of them...
and we've done our share, I'm sure,
absolutely,
too. We love it a lot. But you know, I had a chance to be with a 12-year-old who is a Grand National Champion 2 times, Dakota Klauser. Let's go to his home and take a look at Dakota's.
Go ahead, because we know you're a real champion. Go for it. Go ahead. Cody, we pulled the wool over their eyes, didn't we? Because you're actually a national champion, aren't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations on being a national turkey calling champion.
My name is Dakota Klauser. I'm 12 years old, and basically I love to turkey hunt and turkey call.
You just won for the second time the Grand National Championship, Junior Grand National Championship. Tell me about that.
Well, it's really hard to describe. It's just so when you get up on stage, the lights are in your eyes and stuff. It's gets your heart pounding, and it makes you real nervous. When I was up there, I was
Were you
the
shaking?
whole time. Yeah, the whole time. And some of the competition I had there was unbelievable. I beat Corey Hume, the kid that took second place, by 2 points.
Is that right?
That's it. He's an amazing caller. Well, I was calling in contests since I was 6, 1998. And I was calling just normally playing around and stuff, you know, with calls since I was 4. You know, like a young kid would normally do. At 4 years old, I would put it in my mouth and I just chewed on it, and then every once in a while, when I'd blow, I'd make a noise and my dad would get all excited. And
I noticed you had your eyes closed when you were calling.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
The reason I keep my eyes closed is because I imagine myself as a hen walking through the woods. What it does for me, it helps me get a little bit more emotion in my calling. So I just close my eyes, imagine I'm a hen, and just relax and call. And I just get a lot more emotion into my calling, and it sounds like a hen.
And in first place, and our new 2003 National Wild Turkey Federation Junior National Champion, who will receive a $1,000 savings bond, plus a beautiful trophy with a score of 448 from Danville, Pennsylvania, Dakota Klauser.
Cody's bedroom now. Boy, this looks like a boy's room, and he's got all kinds of trophies, but these aren't really basketball trophies or football trophies or weightlifting trophies. They're turkey trophies.
Well, these are like from maybe 1 or 2 years ago. This one was first place junior contest at last year's state calling contest. This was from 2002. This was the first time I won the Early Bird Expo.
Oh, that's over at Bloomsburg,
as you can see over there.
Another plaque up on the wall?
Yeah, those are the third place and the second place over there. This was the youth calling competition. That was when I was in 12 and under. This was the first place at the Keystone Open calling contest. That was in the junior division down in Philadelphia.
What about
and
this big one over here?
This one was it was the state calling contest in New Jersey, South Jersey. It was they call it the Sportsman's Jamboree.
And what place were you there?
That was first place.
But you were not at all, it says right there
Yeah.
in black and white, you weren't nervous when you got up in front of 1,600 people.
Yep.
Well, listen, I want to get this trophy. Can I pick this up?
Go ahead.
These are heavy. When you won that Grand Nationals the second time, I saw you hoist that thing up over your head. You were pretty... Show me what you did there with that. That was a pretty proud moment, wasn't it? Just like that, wasn't it? Way to go, man. And that is quite a trophy.
Yeah.
2 of those, and if you win 2 more times, you'll be the only one to ever win it 4 times.
Yep, I sure will. I'll be the only one ever in all the divisions. All
In the whole
turkey
country.
calling divisions.
To ever win it 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Dakota Klauser, Cody, as we call him, and his family for inviting us into their home. And Jake, this kid can call. I mean, I was really impressed. And you know what impressed me, I think, the most about him? He put his emotion into it. I mean, you could see him when he was calling. He closed his eyes and he was there. He imagined the hen was out there in front of him when he was calling.
Absolutely. Russ Wagner from Top Calls once called me and said, you've got to watch this kid. He's up and coming, and of course he was talking about Dakota. And then I was emceeing the amateur calling contest at the Early Bird Sports Expo for Tom Austin, and he wins. Now he wins in a junior division. Next thing you know, he's calling against 20-year-old people, 25-year-old guys in the senior amateur division, and he wins that
and he
too.
beats them.
He beat that
when
too.
they see this kid, I'm sure they think he can't do better, but he does. He beats these guys.
What an incredible
Very
character.
Good. Very good.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back here, we're going to wrap some things up in the deer research going on here right in the state of Pennsylvania, so stick around.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, Jake, with this change in weather, I was sort of thinking trout fishing for a while. Now we have all this snow on the ground. I'm starting to think about deer all over again.
Are you really?
Oh, I'm going to go out and look for deer tracks. I want to scout a little bit for next year.
I want a summer vacation. Slow things down. I'm as interested in deer as you, as the next guy.
Put on the snowshoes and head out into the woods.
No. I'm already lathering up here sitting next to a pool. But we will, of course, talk about deer one more time. The Pennsylvania Game Commission's deer research team out in central Pennsylvania, spearheaded by Eric Long, are trying to figure out what it means, all these radio callers, all these ear tags. What are they learning? Here's a little brief look at what we've learned so far.
What we want to learn from this is 2 main things we're looking at. The first is survival. We have these new antler restrictions that have started up in the past couple years in the state. And what we want to see is, do these antler restrictions effectively protect juvenile bucks? Are we successfully able to get bucks from that 1.5-year-old age class into older age classes? And so with these radio collars, we can assess how many of these bucks survive from one hunting season to the next, how many of them are shot by hunters, how many of them are killed on the roads. And so we really get to see what is causing mortality of bucks, or what's causing them to live from one year to the next. Kind of the second thing that we're looking at with the study is to track the movements of bucks. How much movement do we have in our bucks? Is a buck born and die in the same area? Or does a buck travel from one area to the next? Will he travel 5 or 10 miles away from where he's born to where he sets up his adult home range? We've learned a lot so far just in the first 2 years of the study. First of all, I was talking about the movements of the deer. We do see that many of our deer in Pennsylvania do move. Most of our button bucks, over half of our button bucks, will travel a number of miles from where they're born to where they establish their adult range. Typically this happens when the buck's about 1 year old, in the spring when his mother's getting ready to give birth to her next set of fawns. And that's a peak time that we'll see movement of these bucks, and they'll strike off and move 5, 10, 15 miles. We've even seen bucks go as far as 25 miles so far in the study from where they're born to where they set up their adult range.
Okay, I get the mask on him.
Okay. Yeah, this was a really interesting capture. It was great to have that on film last year. We caught an adult buck. It was 2.5 years old at the time of capture, a respectable buck, and we put a satellite collar on it, a GPS collar on it, and we tracked that buck for an entire year. The GPS collar stored, I believe it was 1,400 locations we got in the course of a year for that deer, so we really have a great idea of where that deer spent most of its time. And then this hunting season, that buck was 3.5 years old. It was harvested by a hunter that was hunting the area that the buck was living in, and it was just a beautiful buck. It was a nice 7-point buck that the hunter harvested, and it was significantly nicer than when we caught it the year before. You have blindfold? Yeah, the deer that you got on tape last year that you went in on a clover trap, we tracked him all through the spring and the summer, and this fall actually he was one of our bucks that got killed on the road. So we do see some of our bucks die in vehicular collisions, and this was one of the ones that got road killed. So we don't have many of our bucks die in road kills. Many more are taken by hunters. Even after the antler restrictions, hunting is still the most significant cause of death for our deer. But that one you went in on fell prey to a car. First of all, we do see that the bucks move. There's no doubt about that. Both years to this date, we've seen significant movements by buck. Second, there's no doubt that these antler restrictions are protecting deer. Before the antler restrictions, the Game Commission estimated that about 80% of our yearling bucks were shot every year. So we really didn't have much survival into that next age class. And so far in the first 2 years of the study, we're seeing that that these yearling bucks, between 50 and 60% of them, of the ones that we have radio tagged, are surviving the hunting seasons. And the hunters have really been good at obeying the new regulations. We see very few of our bucks shot illegally. Occasionally there's a mistake. We've had hunters call in mistake kills to us. We have found a couple that have been shot illegally, but that's a very rare instance. By and large, these antler restrictions really do seem to be protecting a significant proportion of our yearling bucks. If we can just get them to the next age class, it's amazing the amount of difference you'll see in the racks from one year to the next. Just like a 2.5 is significantly bigger than a 1.5, a 3.5 is going to be another nice deer.
Be a monster.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what happens. In the next couple of weeks, they roll up their cages, they take their nets down, and then from there, Ken, it's sit back, radio telemetry for 2 more years. They did 3 years of capturing. Now they'll have 2 years of collecting data, and they're finding something, like the story said, incredible results. The one button buck traveled 22 miles to set up its home range. And here we are thinking that every deer that's sort of raised here or actually born here is going to stick around. That's certainly not true with the buck.
That's a long trip.
Yeah.
Didn't one of the deer also end up getting hit by a car?
Yes, it was
unfortunately.
Over and over again they're seeing results from this with the radio telemetry. So it'll be interesting, and we are promising you once again that as we get this information and it means anything to anybody, we'll make sure we pass it on.
But at least now we know. Instead of guessing, we now know for sure what's happening.
And we will know more over the next 2 years.
It's important research. Well, hey, you stay with us. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, Jake, with this snow we just had, I was out shoveling my driveway, and I heard turkeys gobbling. Can you believe that already? In this snowstorm, the turkeys were gobbling.
And the numbers out there, we're seeing turkeys everywhere.
Lots of them. I've seen a lot of them.
I think one of the most asked questions is, what do I need? What kind of call do I need? Now, you could drive yourself crazy learning all these different calls.
But what do you really need?
What do you need?
Yeah.
If you had one call, what would you use? For that information, let's turn to Field Staff Representative Dale Butler.
Spring harvest season is right around the corner, and everybody's going to be looking to call one of these up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to show you how to make some turkey calls. The biggest, most important call to learn, if it was me, and I only had to learn one call before the turkey season, it would be the yelp. I'm going to show you what the yelp sound like on 3 different calls here. The box, the slate, and the mouth call. On a box call, it sounds something like this. And on a slate call, it would sound something like this. And on a diaphragm call, or a mouth call, it would sound like this. Now remember, it's not the number of notes that you do. It's actually the rhythm. The sound doesn't make any difference at all. Just like your voice is different than mine, all turkey voices are different also. So remember, if you only have one call to learn the hen yelp. It's the easiest one. You got plenty of time between here and the spring season to do that. This is Dale Butler with your tip of the week.
You have to give Dale credit, though. You know, Ken, he taught me everything that I know about calling. Yeah. And if anybody could stand in front of you and say, okay, make this sound like this, do this, it's Dale Butler. So I think he's a good mentor and a good tip there.
We don't really need to know a lot of different things. Yep. Really, that one yelp is probably going to do it, isn't it?
Now, you could play around, and there's birds that just won't do it for a yelp. You need to entice them with a little purr or something, but you don't have to know that in order to
at least get out there and get started with something.
Absolutely.
Well, that was great tip. Hey, we keep getting the photos in. We appreciate those photos. Let's take a look and see what our newest installment of People and Places is.
Let's begin tonight's look at People and Places with 12-year-old Amanda Fanning of Scranton and her first deer. Amanda is seen here with the doe she shot during the early youth season while hunting in Montrose. Nice going. 15-year-old Bradley Higgins of Factoryville is no stranger to the Buck Club. Brad is seen here with this 10-pointer that scored 140 points. This is his third buck, and he always wears his lucky Pennsylvania Outdoor Life shirt. Good luck this year. Take a look at this monster rack. Robert Ebert of Lehighton shot this 14-pointer on the first day of the rifle season. This beauty sported a 19-inch spread. Congratulations, Robert. Ryan McGrady of Plains is seen in this photo with his first buck in 9 years of hunting, and it's an 8-pointer. Standing next to Ryan in this photo is his father, Bob. He brought home the venison with a muzzleloader doe. We wish you guys many more years of hunting together. Here is yet another example of a fine trophy Pennsylvania buck. Jason Nauer of Danville scored with this 200-pound 8-pointer while hunting with his father in Montour County. It was taken on the second day of the season. Our last deer photo for tonight features 13-year-old Derek Boyer of Schuylkill Haven and his first buck. And what a buck it is. This non-typical 14-pointer was shot on state game lands in Schuylkill County on the last day of the season. Nice going, Derek. And with the spring gobbler season right around the corner, we decided to look at a trophy gobbler from last spring. Russell Travitz of Turbertville is proudly showing off the 18-pounder he took on May 12th. Hey, good luck this year, Russell. The other season right around the corner is the trout season. Sarah Roseman caught this palomino while fishing with her dad on the opening day last year. Sarah landed 4 trout in all while fishing in the Valley View area of Schuylkill County. Jordan Yapel and his father Mark can't wait for the trout season to begin. Last year, Jordan caught his first trout, and it happened to be this 18-inch brownie. These guys were fishing in Lake Coming County with salmon eggs. And with this photo of 2 happy anglers, we'll wrap up this week's look at Pennsylvania People and Places.
Well, again, we want to thank everybody for sharing those great photos with us. And you know, Jake, I am not at all surprised at the number of big racks we're seeing in these photographs.
Me neither, and boy, do we have piles and piles of them. In fact, at the Home and Backyard Expo, what were people talking about? They were talking about this segment, People and Places. Right. They love that. And about deer. Yeah. So it's still a very hot topic.
Oh, I think it always will be.
And of course, we'd like to thank you for joining us at the Home and Backyard Expo these last 3 days. I enjoyed meeting everybody.
I enjoyed it. I always like meeting those people.
It's great getting out in the public.
Hey, we're going to give this away here today, Jake. This is from my good friend Pat McHugh from MPI Backpacks up in New Hampshire. Saddle cloth. It has 2 compartments.
Really nice.
Oh, yeah, nice and soft. You can put a water bottle in there. You've got room in there for all kinds of good things.
Okay.
Heavy straps. Let's see who's going to win.
Goes to a lucky winner, right? And of course, the season to wear camouflage is coming up right now.
I think it's all the time.
Well, I wear it all the time.
Year round.
I get criticized for it. My wife won't let me wear it to church on Sunday.
Well, I even been known to try that a time or two. So, our lucky winner is Bob Krukovitz.
Yep.
Bob Krukovitz of Oliphant.
Oliphant. Now, if you don't have a postcard in here, now's the time to send it.
We can get another few thousand in
We
there.
could throw a couple more thousand in there. Right now, we've got to warn you, or not warn you, entice you into watching the next couple of weeks. We're going to start talking about trout fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Trout stocking, what to do with your bait, what lures to use, all that kind of stuff. So
I can't wait for trout season to start, Jake.
I know,
It's going to be great.
You love that
Oh,
season.
I do.
And for all of us here on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, we wish you the very best in the great outdoors.
So long now.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.